What's up, quacks? So the Toyhouse saga continues because I had another idea for a video, and in this video I will talk about restrictive terms of service and how persnickety designers can be when it comes to their characters. I also want to mention that I know my past two videos about Toyhouse have been rather negative, and it's like, oh yeah, people are weird and crazy, but like, trust me when I say the site isn't all bad, and frankly, if you curate your experience, people are pretty chill for the most part, and like, if you just post your OCs and just kind of leave it at that and share them with your friends, it's really not that bad of a site. The point is, Toyhouse is fine, and I don't want people to watch these videos and think, oh no, I can't get a Toyhouse account now because Pulcella-Lulu said all these things and the site's scaring me because what if people bother me? And it's like, even if people do bother you, at the end of the day, all you can do is block them, and I highly doubt you're going to have like a harassment campaign against you or something like that. And if it does happen, well, you can report that person. But anyway, the point is, hey, you know, this site has a lot of weird stuff going on, and I want to talk about it because I find it rather entertaining. So that's the perspective I'm coming from. Anyway, let me go back into the video. So, restrictive terms of service. Now, when it comes to terms of service, I actually do understand some rules, you know, like, for example, redesigning an OC, but like, making sure that the redesign is somewhat recognizable to what it was originally. I think that's pretty fair because why get a character if you're going to completely redesign them to the point they're unrecognizable? That's like, you might as well replace that character at that point. So I think that's fair, but a rule that I find to be rather unfair or a bit iffy is the NSFW art rule. So it's like, is it really a problem if the images are properly tagged and whatnot? Like, why is, like, I get it, it makes you uncomfortable, but like, I don't like using this term, but like, let people go into their characters, you know? Like, why is that a problem? Like people will do what they want. Like, I don't think it's a big deal. And again, I just find it weird. I think people gotta chill with that. Another thing is gender swaps or like anything related to sexuality. Some people will sell characters or give away characters that have like preset like characteristics. Like, for example, they'll have a little bit of lore or something like that, a little personality just to kind of give some like flair or some, you know, a setting off point for whoever gets the character as like a way to, you know, expand their mind, give them some ideas. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think actually it's pretty helpful for some people because, you know, a lot of people might get a character and they're like, oh man, what do I do with this character now? Because I think that does help. But the issue though with that is that when it comes to things like sexuality or gender, some people can get weird with it, and I don't entirely think it's a bad thing to like gender bend a character that you get. I feel like I don't think we should like, you know, design characters to be like super ambiguous and like androgynous looking or whatever. I think it's fine to gender bend a character if you want to, or make them like a different gender than what they were said to be. Like, I don't think that's inherently bad because like it shouldn't be set in stone. Whatever lore, whatever preset thing you have on their description should be. I think it should be more like, oh hey, this is like an idea to have for your character. If you want to keep it, you can, but if you don't, you don't have to. Because it does feel a bit, you know, weird if you're like, no, it has to stay this way. Because at that point, it's like, why even give away the character then if you're basically just giving away a pre-written OC? Same with sexuality. Sometimes people will give a character away and the character has like already has like a sexuality or whatever. I don't think changing it is inherently bad either. But there is an issue that I do think is understandable that I've seen a lot on terms of service. And maybe, I know that sounds contradictory to what I said because I'm like, I'll let people do what they want. But I think because it just rubs me the wrong way, that I don't like it. So I understand why people have it. And it's whitewashing like designs that have darker skin. I do think that's a bit scummy, not gonna lie. I'm sorry, whitewashing is never good in any capacity. Like, no, just no. Don't try to argue with me. Don't try to be like, oh no, but no, like, what's the point of getting a character with darker skin if you're gonna make them white? Like, yes, you can redesign the character, but why focus on the skin, you know? I mean, I guess it'd be one thing if you made it like, you went from brown to blue. That'd be kind of a weird jump, but like, whatever. But making them brown to like super peachy white is kind of weird because like, what's the point of getting the character if you're gonna make them light? That's what I had to say about like the design stuff. But when it comes to other rules, there's definitely something that I find funny, and it's when people break the rules and the creator is like, okay, you broke the rules, I'm gonna revoke your character.
No redesigning. No reselling.
No having fun.
Yeah, and also make sure to use your or else you will lose the privileges.
All my terms of service or you will get blacklisted.
Now back to the show.
And I just find that funny because it's like, how does one revoke a character? Because you can't, like, yoink back ownership. Like, you can't just take the character away from them. That's not a thing that happens with Toyhouse. There's no feature where you can, like, literally take a character away. The only way is that you literally, like, re-upload the character or something and say, oh no, this is for the creator. They don't own the character anymore. If that's the case, then yeah, that's, like, the only thing I can really think of. But yeah, no, you really can't revoke a character because, like, it's theirs. Once the character's given away, it's theirs. I don't know why people want to be, like, the character repo man whenever someone breaks the rule. Like, I understand breaking the rules sucks, but, like, instead of trying to take away the character, why don't you just put them, like, a personal, not a public, a personal blacklist, and then just move on with your day and make sure you don't sell characters to that person again, because that's the best that you can do. That's the only way to really punish them instead of taking their character away, because, like, what's it gonna do, really? Because, like I said, you don't have any power to really do it, so, like, I just find that silly. But anyway, to go into why a lot of people tend to be persnickety with their characters, I think one reason is because they want control. I have noticed as well, when people get characters, the designers really love to be like, don't private this character, authorize me so I can see the characters and blah 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 blah. Like, I do find that to be a bit possessive. Like, again, the character's out of your hands now. You gotta be okay with the person doing whatever they want with it. If they want to private that character, that's them. Sometimes I follow a lot of people who sell characters, and I am interested in seeing what someone who bought the character does with the adopt, and they usually private the character, and it sucks, but, like, you can't force someone to see what they're doing. And frankly, if you're someone that sells a lot of characters, you really are gonna have a hard time keeping track of every single character. If you want all of the people to authorize you, you want everyone to, like, show what they're doing in private, because that's just a lot, and it's, again, very possessive and kind of controlling. Like, why do you need to see what they're doing? They're not doing anything nefarious. They're just keeping it private, because most of the time when people keep their OCs private, they're usually working on them, and they don't like having work in progress profiles, because sometimes people like to have their profiles finished. I kind of flip-flop between having my profiles finished and leaving them kind of in a whip state. It really depends if, like, I'm just really working on it for that day or not. But anyway, some people just like to keep their characters private for that reason, and a lot of these designers need to respect that. I know not all designers are like this, but definitely some of them, y'all need to chill. Like, you gotta, I don't know why you're doing this thing where you're trying to make money off of something where you have to basically relinquish control, where you want to be controlling. If you want so much control over this, then do something else. Like, I don't get why you're selling adoptables if you know that selling said characters is going to come with the caveat of not being able to control what is done with those characters. The only time I can understand being iffy is, like, if the person that you're giving the design to does something problematic with the characters, like using it to spread hate speech, or just using the character to spread any sort of bigotry or whatever, or using them to promote bigotry. Like, yeah, that's pretty bad. And if that's the case, then you can always, blacklist them personally, not publicly, and make sure that they never get anything from you again. But after that point, you really can't control what they do. You can make a statement or something and be like, hey, I don't associate with this person. If you see that I designed this character and you see this person saying all these things, just know I don't associate with them. Personally, I feel like the whole guilt by association thing is quite irritating online, because it's really annoying how people are like, oh, you follow this person, you must endorse everything that they do. No, following doesn't always mean endorsement, and, like, just because someone designed a character and the person is doing something bad with said character does not mean the designer endorses that either. either. I think it's pretty fair for designers to have the, hey, don't be a freaking bigot. Another thing that I can understand with designers and their rules is I can understand like no commercial use. I'm not going to go in depth with like any sort of legal things because I'm not good with all that. Even though I wrote essay about it in college, but yeah, like I can understand not wanting people to use like commercial use for the characters that they design. I know that's like a whole other thing, but that's understandable. Aside from that, yeah, you know, most of the designers seem to be very persnickety, and I like using that word, by the way. They really love to be controlling, I think, because they want to have some sense of power, and I suppose that sense of power is from dictating what people do with their adoptables, and honestly, I think most of the time, most people don't even follow those rules. Other things that I also understand creators having issues with would be if someone were to get like a freebie or an adopt, and then they resold them for like a higher price. I do think that's pretty scummy, because like, unless the freebie character has like a bunch of art that came with it, like commission art or like personal art, then like, yeah, I can understand me reselling them after like a bit of time. But if you just get a freebie and you immediately sell them, that's pretty... yeah, I wouldn't do that. It's weird that scalping OCs is like a thing, but I guess it is for some reason. And yeah, reselling like an adopt that you got for like a high price or like a decent price, but then reselling it for higher is also pretty iffy. So I can understand creators being like upset by that as well. That's not good. I don't like that. Don't scalp OCs. Come on now. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this topic. Overall, it's okay to have rules for adoptables or any sort of character that you plan on giving away if you're some sort of designer, but you have to make peace with that. People are either going to do whatever they want with the characters, or that you're going to have to lose some control. It sucks, but if you can't handle that, then why are you selling adoptables in the first place? There are certain things that I understand that designers don't like, but ultimately it's up to you if you want to put up with that. And if you don't like what someone does with a character, I guess you can talk to them privately about it. Some people unfortunately don't have the brain capacity to realize that, yeah, they can approach someone privately instead of making freaking bulletins or making PSAs like, oh my gosh, beware of this user, they did this bad thing. Like, come on now, guys. You can talk to them privately. You don't need to make it a spectacle, because like no one's gonna give a shit anyway. I know that, like I said before in the beginning, I know that this sounds crazy and people are probably gonna sound like as if Toyhouse is like this absolute hell site. It's not. I'm not even talking about most designers. Most designers are pretty chill, but generally speaking, there are people on the site who are pretty, you know, iffy when it comes to their designs. And just be careful with that. That's all I gotta say. I'll see you quacks later.